What did you steal?
Secrets. The data they paid me to protect.
Are they people?
No.
Good morning, Kansas City. Let's take a look at today. Today's.
Do you understand what she's saying?
I hear it's gibberish. I can't understand it.
And I can.
What's happening to me?
People are starved for the truth.
I'm a part of it now. I'm just sorry that they made you a part of it too.
Hello, Jane. Please, have a seat.
This 79-year terror campaign of lies has to end.
What are you gonna do?
Full disclosure to the whole world.
That truth will upend all established order across the entire world. If you do this, there's no undoing it.
Why would they do this?
When the time is right, everything will become clear.
Whatever happens, don't you let go.
Okay, everybody, give me a moment. I want to pull up the charts. Okay, so about a week or two ago, I made a post on Facebook, and I followed up with making a video on YouTube, and it was about Uranus and Gemini getting ready to square the nodes. This is a very big deal. I woke up. So what happened is I was having repeating phrases, words and phrases in my head before waking up, and it was all about Uranus. So in my head, for like maybe for like the last 2 hours before I actually got up out of bed and still sort of sleeping but kind of awake, my mind was just cycling through Uranus and Gemini, Uranus and Gemini. You have to talk more about Uranus and Gemini. Uranus is soon going to square the nodes. Uranus is going to square the nodes. Uranus is going to square the north and south node, north node Aquarius. North node Pisces, south node Virgo. Uranus and Gemini squaring the nodes. Talk about this, talk about this, talk about this. And this was about a week ago. And I made a video, and in the video, I'm showing you some of the things that I see going on, beginning, the square formation. Right now the North Node is in Pisces. You can see right here. Right now the North Node is in Pisces at 4 degrees, and the South Node is in Virgo at 4 degrees, and Uranus is at 1 degree Gemini. So the forming square is happening now. The forming square is happening now. However, 1 second. It's gonna come into total, like an exact square going in June. So here we're at the very end of May 28th. And there's the North Node, 4 degrees, still 4 degrees. But then once I go into June, okay, here we are, June 11th, Uranus is at 2 degrees Gemini, and so are the nodes. But the exact, when this is the most exact, is going to be June 2nd, 2 degrees, 36 minutes, 2 degrees, 45 minutes. So it's going to be in the AM hours. This is PM. It's going to be June 12th in the AM hours. Where we come to the totality of this Uranus Gemini square. But this 2 degree orbit, right? 2 degrees, 2 degrees, 2 degrees is going to last. I wrote it down. It's going to start June 4th and last until June 17th. So 2 whole weeks will the nodes be on this total square formation. Now, why this is significant? Uranus brings in sudden shock and surprise. I spoke about this in the 2 other videos. Uranus brings disruptions. Uranus brings sudden, unforeseeable events. And Uranus can strike revolutions, evolutions. And in Gemini, this is the mind, this is thinking, this is information, this is communications, all forms of communications within your body, within your brain, within your nervous system, within your thoughts, communications with others, physical communication, even communication with your higher self, your guides and aliens via telepathic frequencies, wavelengths, thoughts, radio broadcasting, connecting to radio broadcasts, all sorts of communications with technology, things of that nature. So Gemini communication is a big thing, but also Gemini's neighbors, right? Your neighbors, your local neighbors, and your siblings, your brothers, your sisters, your aunts and uncles, and those that live in your neighborhood. And Uranus being in Gemini for the next 7 to 8 years, like we're going to be going through a process where humanity is going to get hit with a lot of shocking information that's going to create conscious evolutions, conscious revolutions of changing mind, changing collective minds, changing collective beliefs, and changing facts, changing reality. So this coming month, June, it's a very significant phase of this Uranus in Gemini transit that's really kicking it off in what the next 7-8 years is going to be centered around when it comes to Uranian energies being expressed in Gemini. So Uranus squaring the nodes is very significant because these are the nodes of fate. Uranus will be forming a 90-degree square to the south node, which holds all the karma. It holds all the karma. It holds all the Akashic records, the past life information, the karma, everything, all the things from the past. And it's going to be squaring the north node, which is future, the unknown, the unknown, the fated and destined events to occur, the unfamiliar. So when Uranus, the planet of sudden revelations, shock and surprise, rebellion and evolution, squares the nodes of karmic past and destined future, it's a very significant time. And the thing about planets squaring the nodes is I like to look at them as like mirrors. So let's say you have 2 lasers, right? And one laser is pointing that way and another laser is pointing the other way. But if you have a mirror, right? If you have a mirror that reflects the past, then actually that's a horrible analogy, but forget what I was trying to go there with that. I didn't really sit and think that one all the way through. Anyways, my point is that a planet squaring the nodes, it can have it can generate mirrors in our lives that reflect the karmic past, meaning what we are experiencing in our here and now is a reflection of karmic energies of the past. And the reason why that generates, the reason why those mirrors come and reflect the karma of the past is so we can relive it, re-experience it, and hopefully make corrections, healing, completions, and moving beyond the karma and now transcending into a new path that aligns us with our soul growth and our destiny and our mission and our purpose. So with Uranus doing this, it brings in the element of surprise and shock, squaring the nodes, which means anything can happen, changing the future. Uranus sponsors all types of freak accidents, all types of random shit. And the day where this is the most intense is going to be June 12th. The days before, the days after, I give or take a few days, but the most intense day is June 12th. So we'll go June 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. As the most intense days of this energy. And there are many other layers like Pluto and Aquarius, Neptune and Aries. There are a lot of layers that I want to add to this, but what I want to really focus on is something I wrote. I wrote an article. Going back in last year of July of last year. Let me find the article really quick. So July of last year is when Uranus first entered Gemini at 0 degrees, but then he retrograded back into Taurus, and now Uranus is back in Gemini for the next 7 to 8 years. No retrograding back into the previous sign. So the article that I wrote was about Uranus going into Gemini and the last time Uranus was in Gemini. So the last time Uranus was in Gemini was about 84-ish years ago, and there were a lot of things that happened. So let me just find it really quickly. Already. Okay, here we go. So, so the last time, I'm going to read to you here. So the last time Uranus was in Gemini was during the years 1941 to 1949. During that time is when Operation Paperclip was initiated in 1945 after World War II. Also, the creation of the CIA, 1947. In that same year, 1947, is when the UFO craze first began with Kenneth Arnold. A pilot reported seeing 9 flying objects over Mount Rainier in Washington State. Also, in 1947, the crash landings in Roswell, New Mexico happened. The first ever UFO movie was also filmed during the Uranus and Gemini transit and released in 1950. The film was called Flying Saucer. and was released January 5th, 1950. Gemini governs information and the mind and is ruled by the planet Mercury. Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, representing the higher mind or the quantum cosmic mind. It is interesting to note that there was so much UFO phenomenon during the last Uranus and Gemini transit. Also interesting that the Central Intelligence Agency was created at that time. The CIA is all about information and controlling information. What is different this time around is Pluto. We now have Pluto in Aquarius. This increases alien or galactic or cosmic activity. Aquarius, ruled by Uranus, is the alien of the zodiac. Pluto in Aquarius will reveal what has been kept hidden or secret in terms of alien technology. And with Uranus and Gemini, we might see some shocking incidents that blow the lid on Area 51 and all other secrets the government has been hiding. Also interesting to note that Aleister Crowley died in 1947. And during his life, he and other occultists performed many rituals in America and other parts of the world that literally opened portals that some believe allowed more UFO phenomenon to occur. In 1946, Trump was born with Uranus in Gemini, and he was born during a full moon, total eclipse with Uranus, the Sun, and the North Node conjunction in Gemini. This leads me to assume that everything going on is supposed to happen, and it is all part of something bigger that most of us are too young to understand unless we do the work to go back in time and try to piece what we can together. This summer is only a glimpse into what life will potentially be like in the next decade. Perhaps aliens will reveal themselves to us. We already had the flying orb phenomenon happen over New Jersey. I expect a lot more strangeness in that regard. One last interesting thing to note, in 1953, the CIA began the MK Ultra projects. MK Ultra was all about studying the mind and how to control it. This work was initiated just after the Uranus and Gemini transit ended. So it wouldn't surprise me if more intense mind control tactics are rolled out during this time as well. A few other things I want to mention. In 1947, Kenneth Arnold was the man who was flying over Mount Rainier and reported the nine UFOs. Well, this week, that very same mountain, which is actually a volcano, has had several small earthquakes. It is causing some alarm. Pretty interesting stuff, considering that Uranus has only been in Gemini for a few days. So I wrote this article July 10th of last year. And then about 4 days later, there were wildfires that happened in Area 51, just like how I said. So I said in the article, sudden or surprising shocking events can occur at Area 51 during the Uranus and Gemini transit. And 4 days after I wrote that article, this happened.
Area 51 is on fire. Not a joke, and it has been for days. A wildfire named the Gothic Fire started on Friday when lightning struck roughly an hour north of Las Vegas near Area 51. Now that same fire has burned roughly 36,000 acres of the land surrounding the mysterious base. This screenshot from the Explore With Us crew YouTube channel shows the smoke and points out how close it is to Area 51's back gate. But if it gets too close, I'm sure they'll use some alien technology to stop it. Area 51 is on fire.
Okay, so this was last year. Now, this was last year, and then Uranus entered Gemini about a month ago this year, and again, same thing, within a few days of Uranus entering Gemini, this started happening in Las Vegas, in Nevada, right, surrounding the areas of Area 51.
Well, in the span of 24 hours, there have been 17 earthquakes near Area 51. It started with a 4.4 magnitude quake just 2.5 miles underground. The area is normally not prone to earthquakes this shallow, and it's leading to theories of nuclear testing or even UFOs, because it all happened after President Trump said this.
Do you have an update on the UFO files and what we're going to be seeing?
Well, I think we're going to be releasing as much as we can in the near future. They want to find out about the UFOs and anything having to do with UFO or related material. And we're going to be releasing a lot of things that we haven't. I think some of it's going to be very interesting.
Very sad to respond, Dr. Stephen Greer, UFO researcher in retired position. Great to see you, doctor. So are these earthquakes just a version of burning the files at an embassy when people got to get out?
Well, the thing that lights up in my mind is that back in the 1990s, I briefed a man who worked at design.
Well, in the span of
So, and then we had some documents released also after that, right? There was when Trump released X amount of UFO files that were classified, right? A lot of declassification. So rapid amounts of information and things are surfacing in regards to what I wrote in that article a year ago. Okay, so something that I just found out about today. Okay, I have not heard about this at all until today, and it is a movie that is going to release in theaters on, guess what day? June 12th, which June 12th is the day where the Uranus square, the North Node and South Node happens. It's the most intense part of that transit, because it's when the degrees and the minutes come to an exact alignment here. So this is significant. And the thing about Hollywood, right, and this is Steven Spielberg who wrote this movie, right? Steven Spielberg is the creator of this story, right? Same person who did E.T. and those other UFO types of movies. And if you know about Steven Spielberg and all this shit, then you know how these movies come about. Okay, so these Hollywood, these directors, all these people, they know astrology, they know timing, they know release dates, they know how to cast a chart and look at it. So there's no coincidence. It's not by chance that this movie is being released on June 12th. It is 100% intentional. Okay, I will put money down on that, that this was 100% intentional. So now watch this fucking movie trailer.
What did you steal?
secrets. The data they paid me to protect.
Are they people?
No.
Good morning, Kansas City. Let's take a look at today. Today's.
Do you understand what she's saying?
I hear it. It's gibberish. I can't understand it.
I can.
What's happening to me?
People are starved for the truth.
I'm a part of it now. I'm just sorry they made you a part of it too.
Hello, Jane. Please. Have a seat.
This 79-year terror campaign of lies has to end.
What are you gonna do?
Full disclosure to the whole world.
That truth will upend all established order across the entire world. If you do this, there's no one doing it.
Why would they do this?
When the time is right, everything will become clear.
Whatever happens,
Don't you let go.
June 12th. Disclosure Day, June 12th. And one of the things that the man says in that fucking show, or in that preview, is full disclosure. And, you know, there's a conference that happens every year called Full Disclosure Now. There are many disclosure conferences, but there is one that's called Full Disclosure Now. I was actually a speaker at that conference in their first year. I don't really like the organizer of that event, the main face of that whole organization. So I've removed myself from affiliating with those people, but Full Disclosure Now, right? And there were so many things going on that they showed you in those few minutes. So many things that were spoken and that were shown where they're literally confirming and telling you everything that what us whistleblowers have been saying is fucking true, is fucking real. And one of the things that was said in that clip is that the release of this truth will literally destroy all sense of order in the world. Okay. And this is Uranus. Uranus wants rebellion. Uranus wants a rebellion to rise against the current status quo that are limiting. And Gemini is information. And so information coming into the collective that is part of the truth is what sparks an evolution, a revolution to fight for freedom, for liberation. And this is one of the things. And then not only that, but we have Neptune in Aries, which is another component that ushers in revolutions, fight. And then we have Pluto in Aquarius, and all three of these planets are connecting, they're communicating with one another. So disclosure, MK Ultra, the secret space program, children, mind wiping, implants, alien, hybrids, channeling, okay? Very, very fucking real. Even the newscaster, right? Even the newscaster, something happened to her. She doesn't know what's happening to her. Very fucking real shit that's happening. So I think this is what was so important. You know, this is part of why that morning before I got up, this information just kept repeating, because I think it's very, very, very important. A few weeks ago, my wife, if you didn't see the post that I shared, but my wife was scrolling through some reels one day. I was sitting out on the porch, just kind of meditating and connecting and trying to center myself. My wife and I got done helping a friend move, so we were tired. It was the end of the day. It was a long day, long past few days. So as she's scrolling, she's watching a video, and suddenly that video pauses, and a different voice that sounds similar to the main guy in the video she's watching starts speaking through her phone, and it's a transmission that comes through that says, "Help! They are raping aliens underground. The army is raping aliens on the ground. Help! They're making hybrids." So you know that happened, and then on some dude's podcast about a week later, literally a week after that strange thing happened through my wife's phone, because once that transmission ended, the video started to play again, and my wife kept on replaying the video to see if it was normal, if it was going to happen again. And no, it did not happen again. And then I went to the guy's page, I watched a few of his videos, I read the comments to see if some similar shit happened. But on some fucking dude's podcast, he says that the army's raping aliens underground. So he says something very similar along the lines of what happened that came through on my wife's phone. So fucking shit is gonna pop off, you guys. Things are gonna happen, and this is a very important time that we're moving through right now, and it's going to be the beginning of massive shifts in the world and in consciousness that's going to change collective beliefs, collective understandings, how people connect to spirit, to God, to higher forces, changing reality, changing our fundamental understandings of gravity and dimensions and time, space, linear time, space. Massive things going on here. But with that being said, I'm going to end this now. So you know, if you're still here and you haven't seen any of the updates to my website, I encourage you to go to my website, because what you'll be able to do here on sleepingshaman.com is download your own birth chart. So and this is free, so you can enter your birth chart information here, put your name, put your birthday, the place you were born, hit view birth chart, and it'll generate a birth chart there for you that you can download for free. All right, y'all, peace.